Thank you, Chairman Powell. And I should have noted this at the outset, but this is your 25th testimony before the U.S. Congress as Chair of the Federal Reserve, and we thank you for your service and your commitment to congressional oversight. Very much appreciated. I'll now recognize myself for 5 minutes for the purposes of questions. Let's begin with what's top of mind. We have two issues that are top of mind with the Fed: regulatory policy, with the Barr proposal, the Michael Barr proposal on capital, and interest rates. We're in a political year, and the lens of a political year falls heavily on all government, all parts of government. There's a lot of debate about the past 3 years of high inflation and impact on American families. And now that inflation is receding, there's been a great deal of speculation about when the Fed would cut rates. Some say that it's going to be a lot of rate cutting this year. Some say none. What say you?
I say that really it will depend on the path of the economy. Our focus is on maximum employment and price stability, and the incoming data as they affect the outlook, and those are the things we'll be looking at. I can go further if you'd like.
So at what point will the Fed be forced to cut rates? What does the data, what kind of data would you point to, and do you have any updates there?
What we've said is that the committee would like to see more data that confirm and make us more confident that inflation is moving sustainably down to 2%. We have some confidence of that. Inflation, headline inflation has moved down more than 3 full percentage points now to 2.4%, as I mentioned in my remarks. We want to see a little bit more data so that we can become confident and so that we can take that step of beginning to reduce policy rates. It's a very important step. We think because of the strength in the economy and the strength in the labor market and the progress we've made, we can approach that step carefully and thoughtfully and with greater confidence. And when we reach that confidence, the expectation is we will do so sometime this year. We can then begin dialing back the restriction on our policy.
Well, let's pivot to regulatory policy. Chair Powell, as you know, there have been serious concerns expressed on both sides of the aisle and across America and across industries about the Basel III endgame proposal that Vice Chair Michael Barr has proposed and that the Fed is taking up. The concern is on both process, meaning how the proposed rule was developed, analyzed, and released for comment, the general concern of a lack of economic justification for these actions, but also on the substance. The proposal goes much further than the Basel III committee recommended on capital requirements, putting us at a great disadvantage internationally, potentially. So my first question is on substance. Is the Fed listening to these comments that have been nearly unanimous in opposition to this rule? Is the Fed listening to these comments on the impact the rule will have on everyday Americans? And what is the status on rulemaking, and what is the plan moving forward?
So you're right. We've received voluminous and very substantive comments, as well as the quantitative impact study that we put out. We got those responses in mid-January, and we're carefully analyzing them. We had asked for very specific, detailed, data-based comments, and I'm happy to say that we did get that. So we're just now reaching the stage where we can begin to make decisions about how to proceed. We really haven't made any decisions yet, but I think I can say a few things. First, we do hear the concerns, and I do expect that there will be broad and material changes to the proposal. I'll add that I'm confident that the final product will be one that does have broad support both at the Fed and in the broader world. As far as process is concerned, we're really not at the stage of making decisions about that. That's down the road at least a bit. I will say the question we get is reproposal, and I will say that we haven't made that decision, but if when we get to that point that turns out to be the appropriate thing, we won't hesitate to do it.
You won't rule that out? You would not rule that out at this stage of the game, reproposal?
Not at all. No, I think it's a very plausible option. It will depend on how things lie at the time when we reach that point.
Okay. And there's a lot of concern about the interplay between different parts of the rule, and if you change one, what does economic analysis look like for the new proposal? So it is good to hear that you'll be methodical and the Fed will do its traditional role of building consensus around the substantive changes. And that is your intention.
That is right. I said this would be a thoughtful, deliberative process. It's more important that we get this right than that we do it fast. We understand that. This is an important rulemaking, and it's going to have potential implications for the economy and the people we serve. We're going to take our time and do it right.
Thank you, Chairman Powell.